Streaming now, this is the Wood TV Live Desk.
And good morning, everyone. Phil Penarski here with the Wood TV Live Desk. Hope you're having a great start to your Tuesday. Matt Jaworowski is back once again to focus on his latest Sunday story that kind of is a more long-form article that really goes in deep on a certain topic, and you can conveniently find it right now over on our website, woodtv.com. Matt, it's great to have you back on. This latest piece is all about Michigan's indigenous tribes and their efforts to restore a pretty common food in their ancestors' diet.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So we're talking about manoomin. It's a form of wild rice that really not only was a staple to the indigenous people's diet, but was really a staple all across Michigan for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so over the last couple centuries, we've really lost it, and now they're focused on bringing it back.
Mm-hmm. And, the article goes in depth in a variety of different ways. One thing I did find super interesting was kind of the story that that's inside of your story, really kind of just talking about why this crop is so important to these different tribes. It really does go on to kind of explain why they even settled in Michigan, what kind of brought them here in the first place.
Right. So the Anishinaabe story is really fascinating one. We know indigenous people have a history in Michigan dating back thousands of years. Not even just the Anishinaabe, but even previous nomadic Paleo-Indian tribes, which I did a whole deep dive in last year for Native American Heritage Month. But so the Anishinaabe didn't actually start in Michigan. The people that we closely associate with Michigan indigenous communities today actually started out closer to the East Coast, and their legend has it that they were visited by three prophets and told them to head west until you find the grain that grows on the water, which they attributed to be manoomin. It's this wild rice. It grows on the coastlines of creeks and rivers, but also lakes, and it became a really reliable source of food for them.
Mm-hmm. And, the article obviously is mainly focused on providing a little bit of history and background, but then talking about where we are today, kind of what these tribes are working towards. So I guess, kind of just explain to us a little bit about what these different tribes all across Michigan are working towards, what they're doing to kind of sustain and restore this crop back in the state.
Right. So over the last few hundred years, the manoomin habitat has really been decimated in a lot of different ways, whether it's from colonists coming in and planting their own crops, or cultivating riverbeds and that kind of thing, taking out that land. A lot of people that own property on rivers or lakes or whatever tend to, whether they know it or not, take those plants out because they grow right on the coastline and they can grow really tall and block your view. So a lot of people bring it out that way. There's also one of the main problems still today is farm runoff and all the chemicals flowing into these waters just through ground flow and kind of contaminating the plant that way, so it really isn't healthy to eat. So Michigan's 12 federally recognized tribes are working with several state departments, including Eagle and the DNR, to find land to plant more manoomin and eventually grow and further establish what we have still.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the story is available right now over on our website, woodtv.com. Highly encourage everybody checking it out. If you're watching us on Facebook, you can find a link to it right now in the description box or the comment section. It really goes in depth on everything you kind of need to know regarding this, a little bit of history. So there's something for everybody in that article. But Matt, kind of switching gears a little bit now that we have you, we'd kind of like to hear just a little bit more about the process that you took behind this story. First off, why was this a story that you kind of felt like you wanted to tackle and publish and bring to us, our audience, and even talk about it here on the live desk? How'd you even hear about the story in the first place?
Right. So I was looking for story ideas, just something around Native American Heritage Month. Last year I did a really in-depth, 4-part series on historical lookbacks of our indigenous history here. Talking about the Norton Mounds and the Converse Mounds, which was a really popular story. The mounds that were in downtown Grand Rapids that were destroyed, or the boarding school aspect. It was all focused on the history, and so I was looking for an idea of something that's impacting our communities now. And that's how I came across manoomin and this initiative to kind of to help push this plant forward and bring back. It's not that it was a lost part of the indigenous community, but to make it more prevalent and make it more established. And it's something really that we're seeing that's beyond indigenous borders too. There are a lot of other people, non-indigenous people that know about manoomin, that eat manoomin, that obviously it's, first of all, it's very nutritional. It's very high in protein, has a lot of important vitamins and minerals. But a lot of people say it just tastes great too. They prefer it to regular white rice too. I just found it as an interesting story to be able to tell something that's happening now, something still impacting our indigenous communities today.
Well, we're glad you did tackle it. We're glad we were able to check it out and kind of get the chance to talk about it. I mean, was there a huge takeaway that you got from this story, Matt, whether it was during your research, putting it together, your interviews, anything really that is always just going to kind of stick in the back of your mind?
Yeah, it's always hard to do stories that involve our indigenous communities without really taking in the giant aspect of what they went through over the last 400, 500 years.
Right.
To see not just the oppression, but how they were able to actually weather that,
right,
and survive and get to a point, at least today, where obviously it's not the way things were 500 years ago, but then it can at least feel proud and feel safe to stand together and be who they are, practice things that they were taught and raised to practice. So that's the part that sticks out to me.
Absolutely. And that story, again, one last time, is available right now over on our website, woodtv.com. You can check it out right now, and as well as all of the other great stories that Matt has been able to put together over the past couple of Sundays. They've all been great. We've been able to talk about them pretty in-depthly here on the live desk. My favorite part of the week. Matt, thank you so much for stopping by once again, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks, Phil.
And I want to thank everybody else for tuning into this latest edition of the Wood TV Live Desk. I'm Phil Pinarski, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.